I've been getting a lot of questions on my my cold tub setup, and I figured I'd make a quick video to show you guys some essentials on setting up your very own. Now, with the popularity of cold dips and cold thermogenesis and whatnot, there's a lot of really cool companies out there creating some pretty cool setups, but also ones that aren't the most cost effective. So my personal opinion, I think going with a chest freezer that you can probably buy brand new for a few $100, or even get one off of Craigslist or one off of the Facebook Marketplace to kind of fit your budget, is probably the most cost effective way to go and still get a great bang for your buck. So I want to chat with you guys about some essentials in setting up your chest freezer. So first things first, before you even fill your chest freezer up with water, you're going to want to caulk all of the edges, at least everything down from where you're going to fill up the water. You don't need to caulk all the way up to the very top. Just basically all of the crevasses or edges where water could potentially seep out. Because this is a chest freezer, it's not made to hold water. There is a high potential of water leaking out, creating rust, creating mold, stuff like that. So you make sure that you guys grab a caulking. I really like this As Seen on TV Flex Shop white thick rubber adhesive sealant. I've found that this works the best and has the most durability versus a lot of the cheap stuff that you can get at Home Depot. Next, obviously, you're going to need a hose to link into your faucet and then be able to fill water into your chest freezer. That's pretty self-explanatory, but sometimes people don't think about that. So make sure that you guys have a hose. Any hose will do. And then once you actually fill the water on up, you're going to want to have some hydrogen peroxide. A lot of times people will say food grade. I just use the regular hydrogen peroxide. But every time that you fill up your tub, you're going to want to put a half a cup of the hydrogen peroxide in there just to kind of keep the water clean. Another couple things that aren't necessarily essential, but things that I have found to be very beneficial, are one of these little like aquarium nets. This can really help keep your water clean. I would always recommend, you guys are getting into your chest freezer, make sure that you're clean, make sure that you're showered, just to preserve the lifeline of the water so you're not always having to change it on out. But one of these things can go a long way if you have like grass shards or a little residue on the top of the water. When you get into your chest freezer or out, you can just kind of use this to scoop it on out. Another thing that I think is very, very convenient and beneficial is one of these kind of automatic timers. You can plug your chest freezer into one end, and then the other end can basically plug into an outlet. And then what you can do is you can set your chest freezer on a schedule. If you don't have one of these, you're gonna have to do it manually, which can be done, but is kind of a inconvenient pain in the ass. So I live in a really hot climate down here in Houston, Texas, and I've kind of hit the sweet spot. Once I get my cold tub to the temperature that I want, I basically just set this to where it turns the chest freezer on at noon, and then from noon to about 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. it runs, and it shuts off at 5 to 6 p.m. So pretty much the hottest portion of the day, it's running, and it keeps my chest freezer at the exact temperature that I want it, which is right around 30 degrees. Something else that you guys might want to think about is an outdoor mat. I got this one from Target or Walmart. It's dirt cheap. But just something to, when you're entering and exiting your chest freezer, you can dust your feet on off, and you can also get some of that residue of water when you're coming out of the tub. And then something else to think about is a cover for your chest freezer, especially if you guys are going to keep this outdoors. Now, they don't make specific covers for chest freezers, so what you're going to want to do is measure the dimensions of your chest freezer and then go on to Amazon and just search for some sort of outdoor furniture cover that are going to meet those dimensions. I have a 24 cubic unit chest freezer. I don't think anybody needs one this size unless you're Yao Ming. But this chest freezer is big enough to fit pretty much myself and my wife and maybe one other person in it all at the same time. A little group thermogenesis. But I think 14 cubic unit is as big as anybody really needs to go, especially if you are a larger male or a larger female. That's as big as you need to go. Some of you guys might even be able to go a little bit smaller, but it's gonna save you some cash in the long run. All right, a couple housekeeping tips. When you actually go to use your chest freezer, always unplug it. Never get in it when it's plugged in. Also, when you're getting out of your chest freezer, okay, before you close it up and shut it down, grab a towel, all right, and make sure that you wipe up any water residue that just sits on the edge here. Because this is pretty airtight, if you do not use it consistently, you'll actually catch water in between these two, and it could lead to mold. So make sure that you guys wipe up any of that excess water that's in between here, and that will help you from preventing mold.